The world has enough resources to feed the multitude of people, but the greed of a few will not let it happen. Because as they say, the world can take care of the needs of many more billions, but the world cannot take care of the greed of even one person. One greedy human being may require the resources that can feed the whole of FCT. We can see it happening, beginning to happen, right? One greedy human being. So if human beings don't check their greed, if societies are not organized in such a way as to check the greed of individuals, the primitive greed of individuals, then you can bring our population down to 500 million. That wouldn't guarantee that everybody will have reasonable life, because people will be greedy, and the few greedy individuals can pauperize the multitude. So the world, it is said, the world can sustain the needs of multiple people, of billions of people, but the world cannot sustain the greed of even one person. So what is the problem? Greed. And especially greed in a society like our own that is not organized enough to tax people who have in order to support people who do not have. I have told you here before that I spent some time in Singapore. And in those organized societies, in Singapore, you want to live in a duplex for yourself and have a compound of 1,000 square meters. Well, you will pay 10, 20 times the cost of somebody who is in a flat. Do you understand? You pay 10, 20 times the cost of somebody who is in a flat. So you made money, so you can have your duplex and you can have your space. But the money you will pay will provide for 10, 20 families, houses. That is why there is no one in that country that does not have accommodation. You want to ride a G-Wagon. You want to ride Bentley or Lamborghini. Well, the money you will use to register the G-Wagon, the money you will use to register the Lamborghini is enough to buy a bus to transport poor people in the society. Now, that is how civilized people organize their society. In our own case, until recently, if you buy a Volkswagen Beetle or you buy Mercedes-Benz, it was registered with the same amount, right? Until very recently, register with this. How can that be? But that is how we have been functioning. So a civilized society, and those of you who will get into political positions, a civilized society is organized in such a way that to check the greed of people, to check, all that would have been done with the excesses of last weekend, with the excesses we saw in Oba last weekend is, government agencies will just take note of them and take note of who they are, take their names down, and the next day go after them as to their taxes, period. Nobody will complain. Nobody will complain about how you are. But, can you imagine if you bought a Mercedes-Benz for 20 million naira and you need 5 million naira to register it? Will you buy another Mercedes-Benz? This is it. This is how societies are organized. In case some of you think that Father George cries too much, Father George is always talking about poverty and so on. That is how societies are. Nobody will stop you from using Mercedes-Benz, from using Bentley, from using whatever. But what you will pay to register it in order to put it on the public road and pollute the environment. I hope you know that the pollution of Toyota, my Toyota, the pollution is not the same as the pollution of those 8-cylinder vehicles that are running our road. I hope you know. So you pollute the environment 4 times than I pollute the environment, and me and you are paying the same tax to put the car on the road. It shouldn't be. So I agree with you. The world has enough resources to go around. And by the way, please take note. Nobody is talking about everybody being the same. I have never spoken about everybody in the society being the same. All I always say is that Nigerians say fingers are not equal, but look at my fingers. Each one is looking well fed, isn't it? Is there any finger that is not looking well fed? Is there anyone that is not strong enough to perform its role? So fingers are not equal, yes, but each finger gets its basic needs, and that is what every child of God deserves.